Nagre-record na ba? Oo, nagre-record na. This is... Von, can you please read the title of our lesson for today?
Illustrating null and alternative hypothesis, types of error, rejection region.
Okay, that is day number 16. We don't have day 14 and day 15. 14 is for your exam. Day 15 is your performance task. So expect po na meron tayong performance task ulit. Illustrating now and alternative hypothesis. The types of error, we have two. And we have two types of hypothesis, the null and the alternative. Rejection radian. Yan, sa ano lang yan, figures lang yan. And we have two objectives. Illustrate the null and alternative and describe the rejection in the type 1 and type 2 error. Here po. And Dimples, can you please read the meaning of hypothesis based from your module? Read it. Where's Dimple? Ibasa.
Initial hypothesis is simply a statement that something is true. It is a tentative explanation, a claim, or an assertion about people, objects, or events.
Okay, thank you. Hypothesis po, it is a simply a statement. Kung simple lang siya na statement, that could be something is true. Hindi po ibig sabihin na true siya palagi. Kasi we say hypothesis, it is the starting point kasi. When it comes to research kasi, yan yung guide natin. That is the starting point. That is our guide para magawa na natin yung research natin. So, hindi pa natin alam na yung ating hypothesis is tama siya or mali. So, hindi lang po siya true ha. So, it is an assumption lang po na about si population which may or may not true. Okay? Hindi lahat true. Kasi minsan, yung ating hypothesis is mali. Siyempre, when it comes to research, we have a starting point and that is what we call hypothesis po. Okay, I hope it is clear po the meaning from the modules and the meaning from me. And we have here, yes, hypothesis. Ay, wait na ulit. Yeah. Next is statistical hypothesis and we have the hypothesis testing. So, iba ang definition ng hypothesis sa hypothesis testing ha. And please read, Clarence, nandito ba si Clarence? What is statistical and hypothesis testing?
Uh, Statistical hypothesis is any
Mm-mm.
assumption or assertion made on the distribution of a population which is either true or false.
How about hypothesis testing?
Ako pa ba? Ano to? Basahin ko ba?
Yes, yes. Please read hypothesis testing.
Hypothesis testing is a statistical procedure in determining which hypothesis is more acceptable as true or which hypothesis is more likely to be false.
All right, thank you so much. Okay, statistical hypothesis, it is included in your modules again. In your module number 16, it is also an assumption or assertion made on the distribution of a population which is either true or false. So the keyword here is which is either true or false. It is also an assumption just like um, here po sa hypothesis. And hypothesis testing naman, it is statistical. Dito sa statistical, kapag nasa day number 18, 19, something like that, that's the time na mag-compute na tayo ng statistical. It is, ito definition lang eh. It's more on definition lang tong day number 16. Hypothesis testing naman, it is a statistical procedure determining the hypothesis is more acceptable as true or which hypothesis is more likely to be false. Diyan na papasok si null and si alternative. But before that, hypothesis testing po, it could be it is a decision, no? It is a decision making kung i-reject natin si null, i-reject ba natin si alternative or accept natin si null or si alternative. Again, it is a decision making no or a process in evaluating yung claim natin na reject or accept. We're talking about the population here because it is statistics and probability. It is basically it is a testing din no ng assumption that is all about population then. Okay? Again, hypothesis testing. Meron tayong tinatawag na null and meron tayong tinatawag na alternative. Okay? So, bakit kailangan ng hypothesis testing para malaman natin sa research kung yung HA natin at yung HA or HO. So, mamaya mas maiintindihan yung HO and HA. Yan yung tinatawag nating null and alternative kung i-accept natin or i-reject natin. We have two types of hypothesis, and that is the null hypothesis. It is denoted by HO or H sub O. Yeah. This expresses the idea of no existence of relationship or difference between the variable under study. This is usually designated by not or no term. So the keyword here is no or not. Yan, yung not or no term. Or in statement, meron kayong laging nababasang there is no significant. Kapag may nabasa kayong there is no significant, automatic po na null hypothesis siya. Again, this expresses the idea of no existence. Or kapag binigyan ng example, meron kayong laging nababasa na negation, na no, not, something like that. And null hypothesis is HO and denoted by, yes, it is denoted by HO. Ito yung sa research naman, sa research kasi, siya yung initial. Ibig sabihin, kailangan mo munang umpisahan lang yung research sa null hypothesis. Kasi ito yung aim natin na i-reject. Tandaan niyo sa research kasi, unang kiniklaim natin ito. Ito yung unang tinetest, which is null hypothesis. Okay, HO po yung symbol niya. Okay? Ito yung initial claim natin kapag nagre-research na tayo. Magre-research na tayo pag grade 12 na eh. And then, again, ito yung nire-reject natin ha, sa research. Para maging pabor sa alternative. Parang naging, yung null kasi parang, for me, null is something negative. And alternative, parang true siya or positive. Kaya ito sa research, aim natin dito is i-reject ang null. Okay? Again, the keyword here is no significant difference, no changes. Sabi niya doon, no? No existence, no changes, walang nangyari or nothing happened, walang relationship between the two parameters, and the symbol, kapag basta may mga negation na no yan or not, no relationship. And kapag sa symbols naman, kasi statistical tayo, so magiging symbol niya kapag hinahanapan kayo ng symbol niya ng null versus alternative, HO, tapos meron tayong mu1 or the population mean equals the population mean na nila. It is only a representation, no? So, paano natin malalaman, sir, na null hypothesis siya? The symbol is always equal. Again, null hypothesis po, it is an initial claim sa research, no? Unang kiniklaim, unang tinitest. And aim natin is to reject the null hypothesis. And it is denoted by HO. And the keyword here is no significant difference, no changes, nothing happened, walang relationship between the parameters. And when it comes to symbol naman, HO, population mean is always equal to the other population or the second population, and it is always denoted by equal sign. I mean the symbol is always equal. Okay? Then the independent variable has no effect on the dependent variable. Again, baka lumabas sa exam or sa quiz. Now hypothesis, the independent variable has no effect on the dependent variable. Kasi no effect. Wala siyang effect sa dependent variable. Next, yung second type of hypothesis, that is the alternative. It is a nagko-contradict siya sa una, no? And kanina, HO siya. Ngayon naman, HA. Sa ibang book, natawag siyang H1. Kasi yung una is H tapos parang may zero, no? Dito naman, it could be an HA or H1. That is the symbol for alternative hypothesis. From your module, sabi niya, this is the opposite of the null, which is true. It states that existence of relationship or difference. Kung kanina, the keyword here is no difference, and there's no significant difference, no changes, nothing happened, no relationship between parameters. Baliktarin nyo lang. Kasi sabi nyo na opposite eh. Ito yung nagko-contradict sa first natin na type of hypothesis eh. So, ibig sabihin, kapag no changes doon, ibig sabihin dito may changes, meron tayong significant difference, meron tayong relationship between the two parameters. So, you can see, there is no negation here. Sabi niya, there is a significant relationship between the attitude of students. So, there's no word na nakikita natin, na makikita natin sa example, na no, not, something like that. So, ibig sabihin po, it has something to do with positive, no, sa statement natin. So, yun lang po yung palatandaan. And aside from that, it is, yes, it is denoted by HA or H1. And, ano pa yun? This is total opposite of null hypothesis. And sabi ko sa inyo kanina, ito ay nagpapakita ng significant difference and there's a changes and there's a relationship between the two parameters. Yes, Luis Von, you are raising your hand.
Sir, yung HA po parang O po. Parang letter O.
Sorry. HA
Okay.
or H1. And
H.
kanina, the independent variable has no effect. Dito walang effect si independent, no effect siya sa dependent. Okay? One characteristic of null. Ito naman, yung kanyang independent has, no? So yung independent variable niya has an effect sa kanyang dependent variable. Okay? So, parang binaliktad ko lang yung mga definition sa kabila. Then, kanina meron tayong symbol na equals. Ang symbol naman ng alternative is HA. Pwede tayong gumamit ng HA column. Tapos, madalas ang ginagamit dito is not equal. Kunyari, this is the population mean is not equal to the population of 2. So, ano pa? Meron pa ba? Yes. Meron po tayo. Pwede rin siyang maging HA greater than mean 1, less than rather. And meron din tayong greater than. So, mean 1, tapos greater than mean 2. So, these are the symbols for alternative hypothesis. So, madali lang tandaan yung kanilang difference, no? And, kanina po, yung null hypothesis natin, that is, our aim is to reject the null hypothesis to para maging pabor yung kanyang alternative. But here, in alternative, we are seeking for the evidence. So, naghahanap tayo ng ebidensya, no? Para masuportahan yung ating alternative. Okay? Next, so these are the symbols again for null hypothesis. Let's have a quick review. Null hypothesis, HO, equals lang po siya. And when it comes to alternative hypothesis, it is the symbols are not equal, greater than, or less than. Or may mga mababasa kayo na not equal, different from, change from, not the same as, greater than, synonymous with above, higher, longer, bigger, increase at least. Less than, below, lower than, smaller than, shorter, decrease. It is something to do with negative, reduce, negative 10, at most negative 10. Kasi at most kami is maximum na yung at most eh. Hindi siya pwedeng tumaas. At least may minimum siya, pwede siyang tumaas. Okay? So I hope it is clear with our two types of hypothesis, which is the null and the alternative. Here po, example for null versus alternative. So makikita nyo agad eh. Makikita nyo agad dyan na null hypothesis siya by simply observing the statement. There is no significant, so there is a negation. Alternative, so you can see plants exposed to regular sunlight will show a significant greater. So there's a significant, oh, di ba? Kanina nagbigay tayo ng definition that alternative is has a significant difference, and there is a changes, and independent variable has an effect on the dependent variable, and relationship between a parameter. Okay? So, by simply looking at the statement, ma-identify na natin agad if it is a null or alternative. Another example, again, there is no effect of changes. Automatic po na null yan. And alternative naman ng kanyang statement for the null, changes in interest. So, parang kinokontra niya yung null hypothesis, and that will be alternative hypothesis. As simple as that. Okay? Ganyan lang po kasimple. Next. Let's move on to one-tailed and two-tailed tests. Lagyan natin si Von na lang. Si Von lang nakikita ko dito eh. Von, can you please read the meaning of one-tailed?
Ah, okay. Okay po. One way of determining the type of test used in hypothesis testing is based on how the alternative hypothesis is formulated. A one-tailed test is used when the alternative hypothesis is directional, which means that the value of measures is either greater than or less than the other measure.
Okay, thank you, Von. Again, the keyword here, if it is a one-tailed, ibig sabihin there's a direction. That's why there is a word directional siya. So, kailan natin malalaman if it is a one-tailed or two-tailed test? Again, one-tailed or two-tailed test, this is the two types of hypothesis test. Or it could be tawag dito? So, mamaya, basta hypothesis test ang tawag kay one and two. At meron pang tawag dyan eh. Meron pa isa. Hindi ko masabi. Nasa dulo ng dila ko. Basta hypothesis testing yung 1 and 2. Ngayon, kailan natin malalaman if it is one-tailed? Siyempre, may direction siya. Diba? Sa ating graph, I mean sa bell curve, normal distribution, there's a left tail and we have right tail, diba? Pag ito na yung shaded region, ibig sabihin, nasa left siya. So, ibig sabihin po, if it is left, less than. Kapag nasa right naman, ibig sabihin po greater than. There is a direction. Sir, paano sir, pag dalawa yung direction, yan papasok si two-tailed test non-directional. So, kailan namin malalaman, sir? Mayroon pang keyword, sir? Yes. There's a word less than, greater than. Kapag walang binanggit, non-directional, and that is two-tailed. And that is the difference of the two. One-tailed is directional, and there's a word less than or greater than. Yan po. So, one-tailed nasa model nyo po ito, no? So, one-tailed is hypothesis test. Is a test of hypothesis. So, tama yung sinabi natin kanina. Pero hindi ko malala yung isa eh. Lies at only one tail of the distribution, yung normal distribution. Siyempre, it could be left or it could be right. Okay? I know you are already familiar with the Bell normal distribution. And what are the symbols again? It could be the mean, less than, we have here the example of mean, subscript of 0. It is only a representation, pwede siyang mapalitan. And which is m is greater than a specified value. When we say a specified value, yung m raised to 0, depende yan sa ibibigay na value ng ating given. Example, 2.85, 2.95, depende yan sa problem. Kasi may babanggitin siya doon na number. Nilagay lang yan m raised to 0, m sub 0, para symbol lang siya. Di ba mathematics tayo, kailangan tayo mag let ng mga variables na magre-represent sa mga specified value, di ba? So, yun po. So, makikita natin na one-tailed siya. Yung ating symbol niya, ganyan. Could be greater than or less than. Yan po. Next, if it is two-tailed naman, if it is two-tailed test, syempre, non-directional po siya. As sinabi ko sa inyo kanina, one-tailed is directional. There's a direction from left or right. But here, since there's a word non-directional, which means the values of measures of same kind are not equal. Hindi siya equal. Hindi siya po equal. And minsan ginagamit siya is G. Yan. Ito po yung ang equivalent po ng G is not equal. Again, G is equivalent to not equal. Okay? And nakikita nyo sa baba, the mean is not equal to the specified value. Yan po parehas lang po yan ha sa not equal. Kasi kapag may nakita kayong two-tailed, it is always not equal po ha. That is the technique. Pero pang less than, greater than, ganyan. One-tailed siya. Okay po. Okay, next. So, two-tailed test versus one-tailed test. When the alternative hypothesis is two-sided like this, your alternative M or is not equal or G. So, sabi natin kanina is two-tailed siya kapag not equal. One-tailed naman siya kapag less than or greater than. As simple as that. So, yun lang po yung mga tatandaan natin. Two-tailed is not equal or G. It is denoted as letter G. It is equivalent to not equal. Yan po yung mga palatandaan. Next, there's three ways of stating alternative hypothesis. The first one is two-tailed test. And the second one is one-tailed test. So, huwag kayong malilito ha. Ito lang yung ways niya kung paano natin masasabi na it could be a two-tailed or one-tailed test. Sir, kailan natin ito magagamit? Magagamit natin ito kapag magsusolve na tayo, ha? Huwag kayong malilito dahil dito sinabi ko ang two-tailed. Ang one-tailed dito is greater than, less than. Tapos, yung two-tailed dito, not equal. Pero, kapag dinami na natin si alternative, sir, pwede yung alternative pwedeng mag less than pala, no? At mag greater than at mag not equal to. Yes, pwede po. Kasi yung three ways na yan, hindi na yan mababago. Sir, paano naman pag null hypothesis? Ang null hypothesis po, it is always equal. Diba? Sinabi natin yan kanina. Dito yun eh, nandito. Yan. Null hypothesis, it is always equal. Alternative, it is not equal, greater than, or less than. As simple as that. So, kapag gagawa na tayo pag magsosolve na tayo, yun yung palatandaan natin. And kapag kailan natin malalaman kung one-tailed or two-tailed siya, yan po yun, no? If it is not equal, it is always two-tailed. Two-tailed. And if it is greater than or less than, that is one-tailed. Kasi nga may direction siya. So, yun yung mga technique na dapat ninyong alalahanin. Next, ano ba ang tinatawag natin na rejection area or the rejection regions? Siyempre, yung mga non-shaded, ibig sabihin mo yung mga non-shaded region, that is what we call the rejection regions. I mean, non-rejection region. Yan. So, kung ano yung tinuturo niya dito, yan yung mga walang hindi shaded area, that is what we call non-rejection area. Yung mga may kulay is rejection area. Yun lang naman yun. Just simply looking at the illustrations, yun lang po yung ibig sabihin ng rejection regions at non-rejection region. So, hindi po tayo masyadong mag-focus dito. Kasi, yan lang yung mismo. Drawing lang talaga yan. I-observe nyo lang kung ano yung rejection and non-rejection area. Kasi nasa module niya. So, let's have a quick Q&A, no? Of HO and H1. Again, HO is for now. H1 or HA is for alternative. Okay, 1. Sabihin nyo kung identify nyo if it is alternative and then gagawin natin ng null hypo. So, ibig sabihin po, sabihin nyo sa akin kung alternative siya or null. Then, gagawa tayo ng, kapag ang sagot natin dito is null, ibig sabihin, gagawa tayo ng statement na alternative. Okay, what is the answer in number 1?
Alternative po.
Very good. So, the answer here is alternative or HA. So, ibig sabihin po, Gagawa tayo ng statement ng null. So, paano siya magiging null hypothesis? Anong idadagdag natin? Answer.
No po.
Very good. So, there
Significant.
is no significant that, which is dito kayo mag-start. Gets po? Hello? Yes. Is hit the heart reaction kapag naintindihan? Okay, next. TV viewing has no significant effect on the academic performance of freshman business students in the University of Iloilo. Answer.
Sir,
Yes.
Sir Null po.
Okay, very good. It's now. Then, paano siya magiging alternative? Paano siya magiging...
Ah, no.
Come again?
Alisin po yung no.
Okay, alisin natin yung no. Then, that is the alternative. As simple as that. Diba? Pang grade 1. Next. Answer. Answer.
Alternative po.
Very good. It's alternative. The answer here is alternative. Then, paano siya magiging HO or null? Dagdagan lang ng...
Lalagyan po ng not after ng will.
Okay, ano idadagdag natin? There is no... Hello? Anong idadagdag natin? There is no... Oh, there's a comparison, di ba? Comparison siya. So, ibig sabihin, there is no... Ano yung mas magandang gamitin dyan? Is it significant or difference? Ano? There is no difference. Pwedeng there is no difference dyan. Mas maganda. There is no difference para maging HO siya. Di ba? There is no difference in recovering time between the two, which is the patients treated with, ano yan? Treated with placebo. Placebo ba yan? Ah, yan. Or treated with drugs. And those who treated with placebo. Oh, di ba? Oh, yun. Naging HO na siya kasi there is no difference eh. Naging alternative siya kapag patients treated with drug A will experience a shorter recovery time compared to those treated with placebo. So, there is no difference na kapag HO na. Okay? Or there is no significant difference. Di ba? Ngayon naman, sabihin natin kung one-tailed or two-tailed siya. There is a significant difference between the average scores of two samples. Answer. Yes.
One tail, sir.
One-tailed siya? There is a significant difference between average scores of the two samples. Answer. Hello.
Sir Tutel po.
Two yan. Okay, the sample is significantly younger than the rest when they got married. Sinabi niya na dun ng two samples, di ba? Number two naman is one. The sample is significantly younger than the rest when they got married. That is one. The proportion of young voters agreeing into the act of young military officers is higher than the proportion of old voters.
One.
Here's one. Tingnan niyo yung mga words. There is a significant difference in the proportion of the male and female. Answer.
Two-tailed po.
Two-tailed. Tingnan niyo yung ano. Di ba? Sabi niya, tingnan niyo yung pagkakaano niya. There's a significant, di ba? So, two-tailed yan. There's a significant again, two-tailed. And then one-tailed naman, the sample is significantly younger than the rest when they got married. So, ano yung bang tinutukoy niya na? The proportion, di isa lang yan. The proportion of young voters agreeing to the act of young military officers is higher than the proportion of old voters. Anong connect no, di ba? Act of young military, then the proportion of old voters. Then number no, hindi. The manufacturer of a certain brand of cigarettes claims that the average innate nicotine content does not exceed 2.5 milligrams. So, gagawin natin dito is express natin siya into null and express natin siya into alternative and then type of test yan. Type of test or hypothesis test. So, kapag translate natin siya into null hypothesis, kunin nyo lang ito, the average nicotine content of cigarettes. Yan. Of cigarettes kasi yung tinutukoy. The average, lagyan muna natin, the average nicotine content cigarettes is 2.5. 2.5 yung binanggit eh. Millimeters. Yan. Di ba sabi ko sa inyo kanina, kapag HO, it is always equal. Kapag HA naman, depende yan kung two-tailed siya. Depende sa direction. Kasi ano eh, could be less than, equal to, or not equal. Yan. So, ibig sabihin, gagamit po tayo dito ng is. Ano bang meaning ng is sa mathematics? Ang is equivalent to equal po. Yan. Is equivalent to equals. Then, punta tayo sa HA naman. Kapag sa HA naman, ang sagot dyan is the average nicotine content of cigarettes is less than less than 2.5 or great ay does not exceed pala no, so does not exceed, so ang gagamitin natin is less than. Okay, so the average Nico, shortcut ko na, content of cigarettes is less than siya, less than 2.5 yan millimeters. Kasi yung tanong is does not exceed, so bawal siyang mag greater than. Next is yung type of test na, yung kanyang hypothesis. So yung type of test niya, so type of test niya, sabihin niyo sa akin kung one-tailed or two-tailed. One-tailed ba or two-tailed yung ating example?
One-tailed po.
It's one-tailed po, no? So this is one-tailed because of the word less than. Yan. Again, the manufacturer of a certain brand of cigarettes claims that the average nicotine content does not exceed 2.5 milligrams. Kapag kukunin natin yung null, the average nicotine content of cigarettes is 2.5 millimeters. So, tingnan nyo yung ano niya. Dito kasi, ito yung sa HO and H1, ang gagawin natin dito is parang, yung statement, gagawin mong null. Okay? Dito naman, yung one-tailed at two-tailed, identify nyo lang. Depende yan sa instructions. Dito naman, ang ginawa natin dito is application of the representation of HA and HO. Kung equal ba siya or less than. No? Yung directions natin, please check your modules for the directions instructions para mas malinaw tayo. Okay? Next po, the manufacturer of a certain brand of cigarettes claims that the average nicotine content does not exceed. Yun yung alternative, nasagot na natin. Tapos, yung kanyang type of test. Sorry, nilagay ko na lahat dito. Again, for HO is the average of nicotine content of cigarettes is 2.5 millimeters. Nakalimutan ko yung instructions siya kung para hindi tayo malito. Basta, pag kinuha sa inyo yung in words, yung null hypothesis niya, hindi nyo siya gagawing null na there is no significant Ha? Hindi ganun ha. So, iba yung instructions dito. Yung instructions dito sa una, para mo lang siyang express. If it is HA, then express your answer to make it null hypothesis. Something like that. So, yung please check the instructions na lang doon sa modules ninyo. Hindi ko nalagay eh. Dito naman, the manufacturer of a certain brand of cigarettes claims that the average nicotine, it is application na ng type of test. Yung H1, ito na yon. Yung sa two-tailed and one-tailed. Ito na yung application niya. Okay? Yung two-tailed and one-tailed. If you're talking about two-tailed and one-tailed, yan na po. Diyan na po papasok ito. Yung mayroon siyang less than at equal. Kasi tatanungin niya doon if, what is the type of test or what is the hypothesis test. Again, kapag sinabing hypothesis test, one-tailed or two-tailed or type of test, one-tailed or two-tailed. The same lang yon. Okay? So, medyo kailangan siya ng critical thinking dito kasi yung nung nabasa ko yung does not exceed 2.5, ang pinaka-appropriate is less than kasi bawal si greater than kasi sabi niya doon does not exceed. Okay po, ito naman. Yung sa null versus HA in symbol naman. The school registrar believes that the average number of enrollees this school year is not the same as the previous school year. Then let M sub 0 be the average number of enrollees last year. So, ang lalagay natin dito is yung symbol niya. So, number 1, so allow me to answer first the number 1 para mas maintindihan natin. Yung H natin daw, in symbol na tayo ha. Ibig sabihin, kukunin natin yung null and the alternative. Then, gagamit tayo dito syempre ng mu. Mu and HO palagi siyang equal, di ba? And ganyan lang siya palagi kapag HO. Always yan ha, always. And then, dito tayo sa HA naman. Sa HA naman, kung titingnan mo yung problem, balikan natin ulit yung problem. The school registrar believes that the average number of enrollees this school year is not the same as the previous school year. Kung titingnan ninyo, there's no direction. Ibig sabihin po non-directional. If it is non-directional, and this is u is not equal to the specified value or the mean sub 0. Again, number 1, there's no direction. That's why I wrote here not equal. Okay, number 2. Again, number 2, isulat mo ulit yung HO mo na hypothesis palagi siyang equal. Next, HA natin. As is ang HO natin, pero magkakaiba tayo sa HA. In HA, balikan natin yung problem. If the school registrar believes that the average number of enrollees this school year is less than. So there's a word less than here. Ibig sabihin po, the mean is less than the specified value. Then that is the HA po in number 2. Kasi meron tayong nabasang less than, no? The next is number 3. On the other hand, if the school registrar believes that the average number of enrollees this school is greater than, again, for HO, same lang yan, is equivalent to a specified value. And we have HA, greater than tayo, specified value. O, diba? Madali lang i-identify kapag yung HO and HA natin based from the given problem. So, ganyan lang po siya kasimple. Next po, we have the type 1. Tapos na, ayan. Type 1 and type 2 errors. Nasa module nyo din to. Puro, type 1 and type 2 errors. Basa-basa lang. Basa-basahin lang itong mga to. Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true, called type 1 error. Okay? Nireject mo yung null when it is true. Nireject mo kahit mali, type 1 error, and it is denoted by alpha. Ang ibang tawag sa type 1 error is alpha. Yan lang. Please familiarize yourselves na lang po sa mga definition and it is denoted by alpha. Yan lang po yun. Baka sa quiz B, lalabas yung mga yan. Then the normal curve that shows the critical region is called the alpha region. Siyempre, alpha ang tawag sa kanya. Accepting the null hypothesis when it is false. Okay? Again, accepting the null hypothesis kahit alam mong mali. That is type 2 error or beta. Ulitin natin. Type 1 error, rejecting the null when it is true. Error ka doon. Okay? Maya explain natin yan. Accepting the null hypothesis when it is false, it is another error kasi alam mo nang mali. Inaccept mo pa. Okay? Doon naman sa type 1 error, alam mo nang mali. Ay, alam mong tama pero nireject mo pa. Okay? The normal curve that shows the acceptance region is called beta region. Kasi ang ibang tawag sa type 2 is beta. Note, the larger the value of alpha, the smaller is the value of beta. Again, the larger the value of alpha, the smaller the value of beta. So, yeah. So, we have here a representation of type 1 and type 2. So, ulitin lang natin yung kanina. Yan, yung kanina. Yung type 1, error, rejecting the null, and accepting the null. And tandaan na meron din tayong correct decision just like in number 1. This is number 1. This is type 1, type 2. Yung pinakauna is a correct decision. Balikan natin ulit para mas maintindihan natin yung next slide. Type 1 error. So, yan po. Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. Ito yung nire-reject mo yung truth. You are rejecting the truth. Yung katotohanan, di ba? Parang ganito, example. Sinasabi mo na pumapayat ka na, pero hindi naman talaga. Kasi kain ka ng kain. Ganun. So, you are rejecting the truth na nasa in denial stage ka pa rin. It's like, nag-aaral ka, pero hindi naman talaga. Okay? Type 1 error po ang tawag doon. Nire-reject mo yung katotohanan. Rejecting the null hypothesis when it is true. Type 2 naman, so aside from the definition given here, tinanggap mo kahit mali. Yan. Tinatanggap mo kahit mali. O ginagawa mo pa rin kahit alam mong mali. Okay? Minamahal mo siya kahit alam mong hindi ka niya mahal. Parang ganun. In the first place, alam mong mali ka na, alam mong talo ka na, still, ginagawa mo pa rin. And that is type 2 error. So maraming ganyang sitwasyon, no? Type 1, kahit alam mo na yung katotohanan pero ayaw mong tanggapin ang katotohanan kasi masakit tanggapin minsan ang katotohanan. That is type 1 error. And type 2 naman, kahit alam mong mali, sige pa rin. Kinukonsinti mo pa rin siya, di ba? Type 2 error. Kahit alam mong mali, ginagawa mo pa rin. Next po. And, maraming nakarelate ba? Tama yun yung mga example sa exam, sa quiz, ganun ang lalabas. So, identify type 1, type 2 error, ganyan. Kaya, winner, ha? Pag alam mong sa umpisa pa lang, mali ka na, alam mong talo ka na, huwag mo na ituloy. No? Sabi nga ni The Ones, di ba? Yung taong mahal mo is, gusto mo lang mapalaya. Ayaw ka na. Samahan mo lang. Hatid mo na lang, sabi niya, di ba? Kaya, hatid kita. Ganito. Next is, yan. Kapag yung null hypothesis natin is true and accepted, siyempre true siya tapos inaccept mo siya. Or if it is false and rejected, yun yung tamang desisyon na magagawa natin. Yung null hypothesis, sir, true siya, kaya i-accept ko siya. True, tama yan. Sir, i-reject ko siya, sir, kasi false siya. And that is correct decision. I repeat. If it is true and accepted the null or false and you rejected the null hypothesis, tama yung decision mo. Kasi yung null hypothesis mo true Alam mong parehas kayo ng nararamdaman, so i-accept mo. Alam mong false, alam mong niloloko ka na, kaya reject mo na. And that is the decision. Your decision is correct kapag tama yung mga nire-reject mo. Ha? Dito naman sa number 2, type 1. If the null hypothesis is true and rejected, alam mo ng true pero nireject mo eh. Then the decision is incorrect. Kaya meron tayong type 1 and type 2 error. Type 1 is for alpha, type 2 is for beta. Okay? Again, if the null hypothesis is true and you still rejected it, then the decision is incorrect or alpha yan. Ang tawag niyan is alpha, type 1. If the null hypothesis is false naman and you accept it, then still the decision is incorrect. Kasi yung null hypothesis mo, alam mong mali na eh. Alam mong mali. Alam mong mali ang magmahal ng may asawa. Pero ginawa mo pa rin. Kumabit ka pa rin. Then that is beta error type 2. So mali yung decision mo doon. Yeah? Huwag kang kumabit. Tama yun? Yan yung mga examples natin yan for type 1 type 2. Para mas maintindihan. Kasi minsan nakakalito yan eh. Kaya magbigay tayo ng example. Nasa modules nyo yan. Try nga natin. Sabihin nyo ha. Number 1. Type 1 or type 2 or correct this. Yes. Type 1 or type 2. Maria insists that she is 30 years old when in fact she is 32 years old. What error is Mary committing? Answer. The answer here is type 1. Why is it type 1? Because she is rejecting the truth. Right? She is rejecting the truth. Number 2. What is the answer in number 2 naman? What is the answer? Stephen says that she is not bald. His hairline is just receding. Is she committing an error? If so, what type of error? Please type your answer. Answer po. What is the answer in number 2? Kindly type your answer. Anong angel? Wow. This is type 2, di ba? Stephen says that she is not bald. His hairline is just receding. Is he committing an error? If so, what type of error is that? Yes, it is 2. Why? Nasa in denial siya, oh. Tama? I mean, why is it type 2? No, it's wrong. In denial siya, kaya type 1 yan. Wait. It's type 1, not 2. This is type 1. He is rejecting the truth that she is not says. Sinasabi niya hindi siya bald. His hairline is just receding. Oh. 'Di ba? Inire-reject niya, is in denial na siya, oh. So ibig sabihin type 1 'yan. Mali yung type 2 ah. Kasi yung type 2, 'di ba, tinatanggap mo kahit mali. Hindi niya naman tinanggap, 'di ba? Hindi niya naman inaccept. Kasi umpisa pa lang dapat alam mo na mali ka pero ginawa mo pa rin. Ganun ba yun sa number 2? Hindi. In denial stage siya po. You are rejecting the truth. Di ba? How about number 3? Type 1 or type 2?
Type
Alright.
2 po.
Type 2. In number 3, type 3. Type 2 rather. Walang type ko ha. Type ko. Baka may type kayo ha. Type ko. Type 1, type 2. Walang type ko ha. Yan. A man plans to go hunting the Philippine monkey-eating eagle, believing that it's a proof of his mettle. What type of error is this? Alam niya ng mali, di ba? Bawal yan sa Pilipinas. Endangered species na ang Philippine monkey eagle. Philippine monkey eating eagle. Yes, ang eagle is bawal po huliin yan. In the first place, alam niya na bawal yan. Pinagbabawal sa batas. Ginawa niya pa rin para mapatunayan na matapang siya. And that is type 2 error. Alam niya na bawal pero ginawa niya pa rin. Kaya ikaw, Clarence, kung alam mong may mahal ng iba yung minamahal mo, huwag ka nang kumabit. Alright? I hope it is clear between the type 1 and type 2 error. Okay? Next. O, sabihin nyo kung type 1 ulit ha. What? Analyze the possibilities of Sophia's conclusion. Identify if it is a type 1 error, type 2 error, or a correct decision. Dito muna tayo. How to state this one? Okay, the mean number of years teacher work before retiring is 30. So, paano mo siya gagawing type 1? Paano mo siya gagawing type 2? Medyo maproseso ang ating discussion, no? So, paano siya magiging type 1? Paano siya magiging type 2? Alalahanin nyo lang na ang type 1 is rejecting the truth and type 2 is tinanggap mo kahit mali. You are accepting the null hypothesis even if it is false. But the type 1 is you are rejecting the null hypothesis even the null hypothesis is true. Ni-reject mo kung kailan tama siya. In-accept mo kung kailan mali siya. Di ba? Type 1. Type 1, we conclude that the mean number of years a teacher worked before retiring is what? Type 1. Ito na yung statement ha. I-start nyo siya sa We conclude that the average, the mean, that the mean, pangit ng sulat mo sir, that the mean of years a teacher, ganito lang dyan. Gaya nyo lang yan nandyan sa question. A teacher work before retiring is 30. Retiring is wait. Sorry. Release natin yan. Ito yung type 1 ha. So, gagawin natin siyang type 1. So, ito yung ating base. We conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is, so since we are rejecting the truth, we're going to add not. Is not 30. Nagigets nyo ba? Kasi type 1, you are rejecting the truth. Nire-reject mo yung katotohanan. And this is our base. The mean number of years teacher work before retiring is 30. Yan yung base natin. So, therefore, I add not. Kasi nga, type 1 siya eh. Nireject ko siya eh. When it really is 30 years old, di ba? Lagyan natin, when it really, sa totoo is 30 years old naman talaga. Tama? So, that is type 1. Type 2 naman. Idagdag nyo lang. We conclude, parehas lang ha. We conclude, copy ko lang. We conclude that the mean of years a teacher work before retiring is tanggalin mo yung word na not, then lagay mo 30, when in fact, lagay mo dito. When in fact po, it is really, when in fact it really is not 30 years. Yeah. So, yung type 2 natin, yung not nilagay ko na doon sa last sentence natin. So, we conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is not 30. When it really 30 years. When it really is 30 years po. Okay? So, yun po yung ating type 1 error. When it really is, yan, wrong grammar tayo. When really is 30 years pa. Then, we conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is 30, when in fact, it really is not 30 years. So, yung type 2 natin, tinanggap mo kahit mali or sa umpisa pa lang, alam mong mali pero ginawa mo pa rin. Ang hirap ano to sa exam ha. Parang nakakalito. Uh, Try lang natin yung una. Yung isa lang na problem. So, ulitin natin. We conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is not 30. So, nireject niya yung katotohanan na the mean number of years a teacher worked before retiring is 30. So, nireject natin yon. Dito naman, we conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is 30. That is false. I mean, that is true. That is true. Yun yung nasa base. Kasi ang sabi sa type 2 error natin, the null hypothesis, I mean the type 2 error, that if the null hypothesis is true and reject mo, that is type 1. If the null hypothesis is false and accepted, then the decision is incorrect, which is type 2 error. So we conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked together, I worked before retiring is not 30 when it really is 30 years old. When it really is 30 years. Then type 2, we conclude that the mean of years a teacher worked before retiring is 30 when in fact it is really is not 30 years. Nakakalito tong ganitong problem. So these are the answer for type 1 and type 2. Dito tayo mas madali. Analyze the possibilities of Sophia's conclusion. Identify if it's a type 1 or type 2 error. Sabihin nyo kung type 1 or type 2 or correct decision. Dito to sa'yo sa number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4. So number 1, if Sophia finds out that her null hypothesis is true and she fails to reject it, then she commits a answer. Hello po. What is the answer in number 1? If Sophia finds out that her null hypothesis is true and she fails to reject it, ibig sabihin, accept niya. Hello? Correct decision siya. Very good. It's correct decision. Next, she finds out that her null hypothesis is true and she rejects it, then she commits a, ano siya? Type 1, type 2, correct answer. Okay, type 1. False, and she feels to reject it, then she commits a, number 3. What is the answer, number 3? Balikan nyo lang yung definition natin. The null hypothesis is false and hindi niya ni-reject. In-accept niya yung kahit mali, in-accept niya pa rin. Di ba to yun?
Correct decision.
Yeah. Di ba alam niyang false pero hindi niya ni-reject. In-accept niya. 2. Tama? Tingnan niya. Balikan niyo yung mga definition. Find out that her null hypothesis is false and she fails to reject it. So, nag-fail siya na i-reject yon. So, dapat, kapag ni-reject niya yung false, that is correct decision. At kapag in-accept niya yung true, that is correct decision. But here number 3, kasi sabi niya, fails to reject, ibig sabihin in-accept niya yung mali. So, kahit alam niyang mali, in-accept niya pa rin. So, number 2 yun. Number 4, false and she rejects it. O, yun. Alam niyang mali, ni-reject niya. That is correct decision. Yun. Ganyan yan. Number 1 is correct decision kasi yung true in-accept niya, hindi niya ni-reject. Number 2 is yung true ni-reject niya. Kaya 1 yun, alpha. Yung false ni-reject, yung false in-accept niya, so That is beta or type 2. Number 4 is false. Yung false ni-reject niya. So, correct decision. Alright. So, that's all for our day number 16. No matter how many people you may lose, you have no choice but to go on living, no matter how devastating the blows might be. Tanjiro Kamado of the Demon Slayer. So, I hope you learned something new on this online session. And yung mga yums na okay na tayo sa yums, recorded naman ang ating lesson. And for your questions, just simply utilize our GC for confusions or concerns about our lesson for today kapag naguguluhan kayo. Lalong-lalo na dito sa how to state type of errors in a sentence, the mean number of years a teacher worked before retiring is 30. Medyo nakakalito tong part na to. With the rest, okay naman. So, if you don't have questions na po, that's all for today. Thank you so much. Bye-bye, guys.
Bye, Sir Bohol. Ingat po. Keep safe po.
Yeah,
Bye,
thank you.
sir.
Bye-bye.